The Magic Podcast. Hosted by Lloyd Barnes and Craig Petty. Your all-access, behind-the-scenes insight into the current happenings of the magic industry. Where Craig and Lloyd will thrust themselves deep inside your ears every Wednesday to rant, dissect, and give you their raw and unfiltered views on the art of magic. So, lock your door, take out your deck, and brace yourself for the Magic Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the motherfucking Magic Podcast with me, Craig Petty.
Me, Lloyd.
See, I'm getting really excited about this, man. I'm like, this is the first podcast we've done in ages. I know.
Because we got shit to fucking promote. We got shit to tout. Come on.
People are going to realize that the only time we do this shit now is when we have a trick coming out.
It's true. Actually, is it true? Is it true? It might be true.
I don't know if it is true. We've done them just because. You ring me up sometimes and go, I'm bored. Do you want to film a podcast? Like that happens occasionally.
This is the second podcast we've done this year, so I guess you could say it's becoming pretty regular now.
Well, I do love the fact that since the last time we did the podcast, not only do you now cheat on me with Jake Keane, but now you toss yourself off without needing anyone else there. Like you're doing your whole 18.3 radio something
108.9.
108.
Get it? 1089 force for the people at the back. 108.9 Trapdoor Radio.
Nice. And this is the podcast that you film in the middle of the night after you've changed a bunch of dirty nappies.
Yeah, it's basically because, well, we've done 2 podcasts this year because of my lifestyle is chaotic at the minute. So people were asking, when is the next podcast come out with me and you? When the next podcast come out with me and Jake? When am I just going to fucking talk about shit? So I was like, well, I'll just, because I can't call you at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. when I'm up, I'll just quickly blast one out once a week, in sporadically when I can. But anyway, for you, man, it's good to see you again.
Fucking incredible. I'm very, very, very excited. Obviously,
it's the third time I've seen you this week.
I know. So I was at the, for those of you that don't know, I went over with Thomas Maloney over to Cardiff. I was lecturing at the Cardiff Magic Society, which is your local magic society. Got to hang out with you and Rich Relish and Lance and everyone else. And I had a fantastic. There was no downside. There was no downside. It was a great lecture. I really enjoyed meeting everybody. And I mean, Lord Harry wasn't there. I mean, it was not to love. It was perfect on every level, every fucking level. But in all seriousness, I do have to say my favorite part of the trip to Wales, outside of seeing you and Rich, obviously, and grabbing TGIs with you, my favorite thing was watching Lance. I've met him, Lance Bowen. So for those of you that are listening to this that don't know, go and follow Lance Bowen immediately on Facebook. I've been following him for a while, and I'm like, yeah, he's a good magician. He's incredible. He sat there with a regular deck and fooled the shit out of me.
You haven't even seen like 99.9% of what Lance could do. And I'm not just talking about a deck of cards. The guy is fucking mean with everything. You know, the best compliment I can give Lance Bowen is he is a magician.
Yeah. Like
a proper fucking magician to his core. Like everything from him, his ability with a deck of cards is unparalleled. Like, I mean, dexterity with a deck of cards. His brain is phenomenal. He frightens me every time I see him. And also his showmanship and his scripting. Like, he can just deliver. Like it's really, when Lance performs, it always feels special.
You know what? When I was watching him perform, it reminded me a little bit of Eugene Berger, only insofar as, you know, when Eugene used to speak, you just wanted to listen. He had that voice and he had that way of delivering script that made you want to. He could read the label of a like ketchup packet, and you'd be like interested in what you're saying. Lance had that same. Yeah, Lance had that ability. He drew me in just with how he was saying what he was saying. And you can't teach that. You either got it or you haven't. And he just got it naturally.
I also think he might be the nicest man in magic, like the nicest man in the entire industry. I can't praise him enough. And also, I think Yeah, and for Stink, he did audition for the Magic Circle, I think, and it's been like a dream of his. He auditioned for Magic Circle a couple of months ago, maybe last year, and he got like straight in with like is it like this, the associate and be in a Magic Circle with
AINC.
it was the just
See, I want to. I'm going to reach out to him this week because I want to interview him on my channel because, like, he blew me away. He blew me away. Blew me away.
You know what? In a way, like he blew you away, and you didn't even see the good stuff he's got. You know, he blew you away, which is like something you didn't even see the good shit. You know, it means you got to come back to Wales.
Well, I don't mind. I don't hate Wales as much as I make out. I actually quite like Wales, other than the shit.
Wales hates you though, so
I know it took me it took like twice as long to get into that motherfucking country. Like we were supposed to get there for like 2:30, and we ended up getting there at like 6:00. It was just ridiculous. It was just we were just stuck in traffic, sheep on the road. The whole thing was just insane.
Lana Del Rey apparently was playing Cardiff.
The funniest thing that happened while I was there is when I had to sign their fire register.
It was humiliating for you.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm just fucking.
But Russ, one of the organisers of Craig's lecture at Cardiff, came around. They have to do this. It's an indoor venue. It's a magic club, so there's a fire register. So in case the alarms go off and the building starts burning down, they need to know if there's 30 people in the room, then 30 people have to be outside the room when it's evacuated. So Russ puts on the thing Cardiff lecture night, blah blah blah. Then fire safety register. Hands the book to Craig to put his name on it. And he signed it like an autograph. It took up about a quarter of the page. Over about 10 lines. This big fucking Craig Petty chicken scratch. And I was like, Craig, man, you know the register, like block capitals.
Oh God, yeah. In my defense, not that there is any fucking defense for that, but in my defense, I go to lots of places and people go, "Can you sign this? Can you sign this?" And I was kind of in autopilot because I wasn't very well prepared for my lecture, and I was kind of just trying to work out what I was going to do in the lecture. I wasn't 100% sure at that point, so you know.
And by that, you mean you literally stood at the end of the bar with your briefcase of conjuring ways and put together a set in the 10 sweaty panicky minutes.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's what I did. Yeah, that's how I do a lecture.
There were some things that really impressed me. I mean, all of it impressed me. Some things were standouts to me. One of the things was, I wanted to ask you this actually in a serious topic of conversation. Well, not serious, but like a very didn't interest me. You have this innate ability to remember how to perform a routine. And like you have this in your mind, you must have a library of 10,000 tricks. I don't know, maybe I'm really over-exaggerating, but 1,000 tricks even. And in a moment's notice, you can do the whole routine. And what proved this to me was there was one of the participants or the spectators of the lecture, a woman called Heather came along, and in the interval, which you decided, I thought it was the lecture was over at 10:30, and then you were like, right, after the interval, let's go again. I had to stop you at 11 because I want to go home. But Heather came out and was like, oh, blah, blah, picked up your coin bag effect. Mark it down. Is it called a coin bag? It's like
the bag reborn. The bag reborn.
Bag reborn. And she asked me some questions about it. I couldn't hear what the questions were because I was nattering away as well. And then you didn't have one on you. So you asked Heather, could you borrow her bag? And I don't know if you borrowed her coins as well. You borrowed her bag. And then you did like a full, proper 10-minute routine using her bag. But it was a flawless routine. And it wasn't just like a one effect routine. There was, if it was to be broken down into phases and routines, I think there was 4 routines, each one having 3 to 5 phases per routine. Didn't flash, didn't fumble, had really well-timed scripted beats to it. So when you were like, you know, when I don't do this very well, but like you would do a move or an element of the routine that would end with a certain line. And that line would like lead to the applause cue, and you would sort of have to time it so that you would almost be doing the move and the line would hit. So basically what I mean is it was routined and scripted perfectly. And if you didn't have it on lock, it would have floundered. And you just fucking did it. Start to finish, borrowed, but not even planned, on the spot. It's something you released, last year or whatever.
Yep.
And you kind of did that throughout the entire lecture. You were like, I don't know what to do next. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see something like this? Okay, and then you whipped out these routines. My question is, I know it's a long roundabout way to get there, it must be the same as like stand-up comedians, who can deliver story and joke after story and joke. Do you have a system for this? Like, is this something that you do to memorize your material in such a way that makes it easier to recall?
I've never been asked that before, and it's a great question. And the short answer is, I wish I could give you an answer, and the answer is no. I have people coming up to me at conventions all the time, and they'll give me a trick. Like at Blackpool just gone, somebody brought up love cards, which is a trick I brought out 20 years ago with World Magic Shop. And they were like, I've got it here in my wallet. Can I see you perform it? And I just took it off them. I'm like, here you go. And I just did the performance. I think it's because you know as well as me, I can't do that with other people's material. So in other words, if I learn something, unless I really love it. So there's certain things that I can do, even if I haven't done it for ages. So perfect example, I really freaking love your version of Double Cross with Lux, and I haven't done it in about a year and a half. And Ryland wanted to learn Lux, and he was like, "Can you show me that routine?" And I did it flawlessly because there's certain routines that just I remember and I can do it. But generally, as a rule, I can only do it with my own stuff, and I think it's because as a creator, you spend so much time working on a trick. But one thing I do as a creator, and you know this, is I'll spend years working tricks in. Like I'll take it out to get, because I know that when I go to a shoot, whether it's with you or Penguin or Alakazam or whatever, you are relying on me to get good reactions for that trick. And if I go in and I don't get the good reactions, that's going to affect the trick. And if I go in there and I struggle, that's going to affect the trick. If I go in there, it's going to, you're paying for somebody to video it, or your time is, it's important that I get that right. So I work it in because I know I have to deliver. That's part of my job as somebody who's working with a production company. So by the time I go to a shoot, and the perfect example is the Savant deck. I came in and we hadn't even spoken that much about the Savant deck before the shoot. We'll get to that later on. And then I went out in the bar and I was like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
That's not something that you can do just off the cuff, just by making it up. So because I spend so much time working this stuff in, I have a really good memory for that. It just kind of gets locked in my...
It's like a muscle memory in your brain sort of thing, sort of by rote.
Yeah, so when somebody gives me a prop, I can just go, yeah, I can do that perfectly. It just sticks in my head for some reason because I've spent so much time thinking about the pacing and the timing and the scripting and so on and so forth. Now, Bag Reborn is a perfect example. You're right, I did 4 tricks there. I did a...
3 coin vanish, goes across,
coins
big finishing effect.
Called Chop Bag, and I did the coins through the table, if you remember.
Let's just hit that.
Yeah. So I did 4 routines. Now, on the Bag Reborn, there's 40 tricks. I don't think I'd be able to do all 40. I think I'd probably be able to get to about 25, and then I might struggle. I don't think
anybody else saying that so flippantly, I'd be like, I don't believe you. The way you did those 4 tricks on the fly, without planning it, I absolutely believe you could smash 25 of those routines out without even... whilst thinking about what other tricks will you do for the rest of the day with other objects. It was really impressive to see. But when you said about and this is one of the things that holds true, and I do think that the people should listen to this if they have any intention of breaking into the industry, is that you take your shoots. People probably don't believe this, well, they do by now. You take your shoots very, very seriously. You take them very professionally. You turn up and you are paid, practiced, and polished for every single shoot that I've ever been with you on, which for a lot of artists, I mean, there aren't many that I've seen I'm not as prepared as you. And I feel like you will outwardly, people would think the opposite. Like, oh, Craig Petty is just like this wild man, and just sort of gets it done. But yeah, that was, I think, the first time we ever filmed together was possibly the Quantum Deck.
I think it
And
was.
when you rocked up, you had your whole list of agenda in terms of the teaching. You were like, okay, I'm going to teach how to shuffle a deck of cards. Blah, blah, blah. Routine, and it was like 4 A4 pages, I think, handwritten. Well, I don't know whether that makes a difference. Handwriting stuff does have a different effect in your brain. All handwritten and ready to go, and but admitting makes the difference. It really makes a difference.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll be completely honest with you here. I am the single most disorganized person in the world.
Well, this is what my point is. Like, people would know this if they know you're disorganized. But
Like when we went to TPIs, I just left my wallet on the table, and you had to give me the wallet afterwards.
I hid it from you, and then I thought, I know Craig's gonna have a panic attack, so I'll give it back in like 10 minutes instead of an hour.
And I didn't even know I'd left it. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I am really, really disorganized with everything that I do. And I think that what I try to do is I try to look at what I'm bad at and work out how I can not improve on that, but little hacks that I can use. So, I'm terribly disorganized. So in the office, I have a team of people that will keep me organized and tell me, right, you've got to do this here. You've got to do this here. On a shoot, if I just, now I could go to a gig with nothing in my pocket but a couple of coins, and I could blag my way through it and people would love it. But I can't do that on a shoot. I can't blag my way through a shoot. So I have to be super organized. So I have to think about everything, including how to teach it. So I remember when we did the ProCaps tutorial, and I said to you, I'm going to spend like 15 minutes teaching how to do a coin vanish because it's so important. And you were like, really? You can do that? And I did that. And it was really important for me to do that because I've mapped out how I wanted this tutorial to look. And a lot of the effects were based on that one move. So it was really important that move people really fully understand. And it was important that it happened at the beginning because if people can already do that, they can skip to the next section. So I think about all of this. So when I'm doing a shoot, I think, right, what would be the best way to present this material? What would be the best way? And everything has to be worked in. If there's 39 routine... Now, look, I'll be completely honest with you. People are like, oh, there's so many tricks on Craig's tutorials. Yes, there are. Focus is a perfect example. I think we did 40 tricks on that. Right. 30 of them I've never done since the shoot. They were created specifically for that trick because I thought, you know what? I think people would like to have the ability to do this trick with this deck. I think people would like to be able to do this trick with this deck, so let me work out a way of doing it. But it's not for me. I'm not going to do it. However, what is important is that I can perform it because I can't go, well, I think this would be really good. Doing oil and water with this deck would be really good. So, here's an oil and water and fumble my own way through it. That's not going to work. So, like me and Jake filmed the Focus project, and we were out for 2 days getting live performances. And one thing Jake said to me is, I can't believe you just performed every single trick live in front of an audience. Every trick on that project you performed live. And you were getting great reactions. And I said, yeah, people need to understand that you can do this stuff. If I'm not going out and performing it and I'm not doing it, nobody's going to have faith to be able to do it themselves. Now, Focus came out a year ago. I don't think I could probably do all 40 routines now. The 10 that I love that I do in my own work, I can do. I could probably do another 10. But the others, I'd have to watch it too. I'd have to watch the tutorial to remember what I said.
That makes sense. And I think that's fair. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you have this, I think, it's just amazing to see. I remember recently I watched an interview. I don't even know how it ended up coming up. How tall I am. I'm not sure. I'm going to shrink down. Ready? On my chair. But
Wow.
I watched an interview with Roy Chubby Brown, the comedian.
Oh, yeah.
New comedy. And off stage, he's a different human. He's very, various comes across, and I don't know if there's any political controversies behind the scenes or if he's done anything like a Me Too movement thing. I don't know, right? But he comes across as a very, very astute, switched on man. And in this interviewer said, I think he was asked, how do you remember so much material? That's what was interesting to me. And one of the things he said was, every for example, what every comedian he'd met, he would write their name down in a booklet, and he'd make up, he'd add a line to an ongoing song that he has, that he's constantly made, and then he just started singing this little, kind of like a limerick, like a man from and he started listening just all these comedians that he'd met over the years, and a little funny lyric to go with their name. And so basically he created a funny mnemonic for all these people. And just in like a networking sense, memorizing someone's name and a piece of information about them is a better networking tool than being a better business person. If you can say, oh, how's the family? How's little Sophia doing? Yeah, and things like that. I thought, oh, that's really interesting that he does that. It might have probably be a reason why he's been around the circuit so long. Maybe he remembers every event planner's name and something about them and things like that. But just see what I saw you doing that material, just off the cuff, and so much of it so polished. It was just really, really impressive. But I wanted to ask another question or bring up another point, because I seen a comment yesterday somewhere, and someone had said, I think it was on the cafe referring to the Savant deck. I don't know if they intentionally meant the Savant deck, but the comment was something along the lines of, oh, I don't like it when creators release something that they haven't been working in for years.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if they said, oh, this is a pass from me, or I'm not going to get this because of that. Obviously, the person didn't know how long you've been working on it. But regardless of that, does it matter? Some tricks, yes, you need to know that they've ironed out every single thing. But I personally, and I want to hear your views, I don't think there are some tricks that you could have made them yesterday, and they are what they are. You could spend 10 years working on them, and it'd be Pareto principle. You would only get
I totally get where you're coming from. Two points on that before I go to the main point. First of all, I've heard people say this before, like, oh, Craig doesn't work stuff in. And I think it's because I release a lot of magic. So because I release a lot of magic, they're thinking, well, how can he possibly work all of this
do this stuff?
Possible. The reason I can do it is two reasons. Number one, I gig a lot. I gig more than most magicians. What you see on your screen, Magic TV, Craig Petty doing all of these videos, that's a very small part of my life. The big part of my life is going out and performing. I perform, I would say, probably more than anyone in the UK, or close to anyone in the UK. So because of that,
I'd say so.
Yeah, I've always got an opportunity to work stuff in constantly. However,
I also think because you're very financially, you're in you are, one of the wealthiest people I know behind the scenes. I'm saying this because you take any gig, where some people will go, oh, I will only do the £1,000 a night gigs. I'm only going to do 2 this month, or whatever the fuck they're going to do. You are so addicted, annoyingly, to performing. You just perform every fucking gig. So you could do like 30 gigs in a month.
Yeah, exactly. So I love performing. So I'm out performing a lot. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I take my, I get a chance to create magic and present that to the magic community. I don't take that lightly. The fact that people support Murphy's, myself, Penguin, whoever, and buy the stuff that I put out, I take that responsibility seriously. I don't want to be, look, let's call a spade a spade. I don't want to become Jay Sankey. I love Jay. I've just done a video on Jay. I think he's amazing, but a lot of the stuff that he's brought out isn't as good as his older stuff. I want the next trick that I bring out to be the best trick that I do, or at least I want to try to make sure it's the best thing that I do. And I take it very seriously that if I'm going to bring something out, it's going to be worked in. The other thing is, when you see a trick, I've been working on that for years. That's how I can do it. Like at the moment, if you saw what I was doing in close-up right now, at my gigs, I'm doing stuff that you guys aren't going to see the light of day until 2026, maybe even 2027. I'm working on stuff that's coming out way down the line. The stuff that you're seeing that's coming out now, I've been doing for years a lot of the time. And that's the other thing that you need to consider as well. When you see it, it's already been, by the time I've gone to the actual shoot, it's already been completely worked in. And I remember seeing a post on Reddit. I did a stupid thing. I never go on Reddit, but I went on Reddit and I Reddited myself. Somebody had a thread about Craig Petty, and he's like, somebody said this. Oh, does Craig work with Till Lynn? I don't think he does. And Phil Smith actually went on there, and he replied and said two things. He said, first of all, you can't get the reactions Craig gets if you don't work it in. It's impossible to go on a shoot and get the reactions he does in order to, it's just impossible. It has to be worked in. But secondly, because Phil's worked with me so much, he said, I know Craig's process. Craig's process isn't he releases everything, he releases everything, he releases everything. There's so many things that Phil has worked on with me that will never see the light of day, because we got to a certain point. I paid Phil and it was just binned. It just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. So there's that aspect as well. But in terms of the original question, in terms of should it be worked in, I'm going to have to disagree with you, man. I'm going to have to say yes. No.
The question wasn't should it be worked in. The question was how much time does something need? Like, I'm trying to think of an effect which is, for example, it's probably not the best example out there, but the pen through dollar bill with the detachable magnetic head. Mm-hmm. Classic old pen through bill. Remember that one? Right? Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, it would have taken time to make that, the physical prop. Maybe it's not the best example, but basically, the handling, I'm not doing a disservice to the creator here, the original creator. I don't mean it this way, but the handling is essentially quite is trying my best to be so selective in my words. But once that handling is like, okay, this is what the handling should be, bump, bump, done, handed out. Those elements come together. I feel like I'm being offensive. I don't mean it, but it's almost like there's some tricks that once they're put together, you could put it together on your desk, like right now. We'll go, oh yeah, that's what's happened. I'm going to do this, that goes there, that comes out. Yeah, you go out, you test it for a week, and you go,
yeah, okay,
it is what it is. And
I get that, but I disagree, and I'll tell you why I disagree. One, the invisible deck is a perfect example of a trick that everyone's done the same way. And I spent some time thinking about it, and I put the Visible project on, which was rave reviews, 20 reviews.
I think on a different topic, though. This is like, I'm all about a brand new concept or a trick.
Yeah, but the invisible deck was a brand new concept at one point. Okay, using your analogy of the pen through bill, when Javier did the tutorial for the perfect pen by John Cornelius, he put several different handlings on there. He didn't just put one through the bill. He had the thing where it was doing like this, and he folded it.
I feel like I haven't made my point clearly. I'm not saying that you should rush things out. And because I've gotten into this habit of the last 10 years or so, where people tend to steal my material where it comes out, I share a lot of the stuff that I'm doing very, very early on. So people know that I'm working on things years in advance. So I don't need to say that I don't do that. But I don't think that there are some tricks, for example, like a perfect example is Acme Hole. It's one of the most successful things I've ever done. It's one of the most performed tricks out there in the world. I created that on a Monday, and it was released on a Wednesday. The handling, it is what it is. You show there's a hole in the card, you turn it around, and you pull the hole off. I could spend 10 years trying to make that handling better. Probably couldn't improve it. Like, I released it like 10 years ago. I don't have a better handling than the one I created on the same day. So for most things, 90% of the material out there in the Magic realm, you need to work it for years, I'd say.
Yeah.
But there are some things where what I'm saying is, I think having a rule that you apply to every single thing that's created can only hinder you. For example, if somebody loves the Acme Hall effect, right, and I'm like, oh, I've seen it, I love it, I want to do it. It's the perfect trick for my show because I use the concept of black holes throughout the show. And then they go, oh, but he created it 2 days ago. I'm not buying that now. You come up with it on Monday, even though it's exactly what they need, and it's I don't know any faults with it. I haven't ever heard any faults with it. But because some people go, oh well, like so what I say this is the Savant deck. Every routine is polished. The concept works beautifully. I don't know how you could improve the concept or the principle behind it at play. The routines are stellar. They get amazing reactions. And then for someone to say or assume that it wasn't worked in for years, therefore they wouldn't buy it. Well, let's just say you created all those routines on the day of filming. Then if they're good routines, they get great reactions, why would not they would some of it was jamming in the tutorial, like we were like, oh, you could actually do this as well, like additional bits and pieces. But if they were created on an hour before the shoot and you went off and you tested it and it fucking worked really well, why could that be a deal breaker for some people who are like narrow-minded?
I get what you're saying, and I agree. Tricks should be taken on the value of the trick, not when they were created. But one thing I will say is I've never done a trick ever, whether it's my own or somebody else's, and I've never done a trick and performed it at gigs for a month and not improved it based on real life performance in the real world. I might the amount of times I've created a trick and think it's perfect, and I've taken it to a gig and I've done it the way I thought it should work because in my head I've got enough experience to know it'll work, and then the spectator does something that I couldn't have anticipated, and I'm like, oh shit, and then the next spectator does the same thing. I'm like, fuck, right, I need to do this because they're doing this, and I didn't know they were going to do this, but now I know they're doing this, I'm going to do this. Which maybe not necessarily makes it better, but makes it work better, which is important. And second of all, I'm working something in. A lot of the time, it's not just about the technical side of things. It's about the moves. It's about what you say. I'll be performing something
by the most efficient off the emotion.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll say something, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's a great line. I'm going to nick that. I'm going to do that in the next performance." And then I'll say that, and then that will lead to something else, and it will evolve. Even if it's the perfect trick, it will evolve based on real world performance, and it will be a more polished trick when it's eventually shown to the audience, when it's eventually released. The other thing is using Acme Portable Hole. I love it. Ryland does it in his show. Killian used it on Britain's Got Talent and did it in every single stage show. It is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. It's probably my favorite thing that you've done. However, and it depends on how you want that tutorial to do. Now, when you brought that out, you were with E. They just wanted to rush it out. Absolutely fine. Not a problem.
But that's literally what I was not going to release that trick. But that was a big recurring theme, was that I was forced to put stuff out there because somebody hadn't had a project ready. So it was like, Lloyd, make something.
Yeah. And I
get sacked.
And I totally get that. And I know that's not what you liked about it. I get that. But here's the thing. If you'd have given me Acme Portable Hole, now, you might not want this. Like some people, they bring a trick out. It's a flap card. It's got a flap on it. It's a 10-minute tutorial. Great. It's going to sell. I don't like doing that for two reasons. One, I come from the era of L&L publishing. I come from the era of you buy a DVD set with 4 DVDs and you're watching Bill Malone go through so much material, or Jay Sankey or Michael Close or whatever the case may be. That's not the case these days. These days it's a single trick release and there's normally one trick on there. The reason I do these long tutorials that everyone takes a piss out of is because I'm trying to bring back my golden era in magic.
You're trying to bring sexy back.
Was when RSVP were bringing out multi-effect DVDs and Alakazam were doing the same thing. L&L were doing the same thing. And you'd be having like, here's Matthew Wright with 10 fucking brilliant tricks on The Unusual Suspect. Here's Matthew J. Jowden with another brilliant party animal with a bunch of amazing tricks. Oh, now we've got John R.
Steven Johnson's Chaotic.
All of this, and it was all coming out like every month, and I'm like, this is just the golden era of magic, when it wasn't just one fucking trick with one handling done in a studio to one person with a camera on your fucking crotch. It was instead well thought out routines, and every single one of them had a live performance, and that was the golden era of magic, not this shit that comes out 90% of the time these days. So the reason I do the long tutorials is because that is where I got into magic. That is what I love, and I want to share that with people. If I had the Acme portable hole, I'd be like, great, what does this do? Effectively, it can turn a real hole into a sticker. Right, brilliant. So what can we do with that? Okay, well, how about if I had another card and I can make the hole jump onto that card? And maybe if I had a sticker on that card, it then becomes a transposition between two cards with stickers or holes. Or maybe the hole turns into a sticker, then the hole is used to go onto a dollar bill. Or maybe I'm using the hole at that point to be an invisible hole to drop something through a solid object. Honestly, if you gave me an Acme portable hole and gave me a week, I'd give you 15 routines. Now, would they be the best routines? You probably wouldn't do them. You'd probably still do the original effect. But for me, that's providing value for people, because would I do all 15 of the routines? No, but I know from releasing product where there's lots of routines on a product, different people will come up to me and say, people did it at the Magic Circle at the convention. Everyone was talking about Evoke, and everyone was like, oh, that's my favorite trick on Evoke. Oh, I don't do that one, but I do that one. Oh, I love that one. I love that one. Who am I to say what their favorite trick or not is? My job is to just present as much material as I can and let them make their own mind up. And I think that even with Acme portable hole, it could be made better. No, the trick can't be made better because it's near perfect. But performing it in the real world will allow you to give people other options that expand on the core concept.
I'm completely with you. I don't disagree whatsoever. I think they're in obviously, that you look at the scale of the Dex tutorial, Lux tutorial.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the same field as you. I feel the same way as you, obviously. But I'm also not against a trick being a trick, like a one category thing. And there are so many different types of musicians out there. For example, there are some people that you buy every single fucking album that comes out because you just love whatever they do. But there are some artists that have a one-hit wonder, but that one-hit wonder might be your favorite song of all time. And they just managed to capture lightning in a bottle, and they might only ever put one song out. There are some, and I think that, I me, man, I'm all about creativity and squeezing every last drop of juice out of it. I don't think I try to squeeze for me personally, I don't try to squeeze every last drop of juice out of a trick. I try to look for the angle that no one else has taken, the approach that no one else has taken. So not necessarily trying to get as much out of the same thing, but look at it from a different perspective. But I don't, for people like that, for example, look at that trick that came out with the shoelaces for Penguin.
Yes.
Donovan, what's his name?
Donovan Mount, laced up.
No, laced up. I haven't seen that product, but I think it was just essentially one routine.
Yep.
And look at Sinful by Wayne Houchin. And look at Wayne Houchin's other tricks. Almost all of them were, this is the trick. It is perfectly formed, perfectly polished.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And, there's an argument to say, Sinful, one of the best releases.
I would say that Sinful is a
time.
perfect example for your argument. You couldn't do anything else with Sinful. It is.
Yeah, why would you try and squeeze more juice out of that? Because I think that is essentially perfect. You look at Self-Tie Shoelace by J. Noblezada. You could try and put 35 routines to that. I actually think that they wouldn't then. I actually don't think it would be as well remembered. I think it would become that choice. There are certain, we talk about this behind the scenes, there are certain things out there that have so many different, I'm talking about types of apps and things as well. They have so many different features and so many different routines that after looking at this app for years, I still don't even know what the app is or does. And because of that, I feel like it's massively hindered itself. When it's kind of different with what you do, because you are you're like, look, this is not a project. This is not a trip. I'm bringing to you a compendium or a project or a volume of work on the invisible deck. Well, now as a purchaser, I'm going in wanting a masterclass on the invisible deck. But in some instances, if I was like, oh, look how cool this trick is, the hull peels off the card like an Acme hull from a cartoon. But if I suddenly came out with that trick and was like, all right, this is a cool visual. I'm also giving you a 50-hour compendium of every which way I could squeeze. You know, you don't have to use this for hulls. You can use this for I don't even know. I'm too stupid for swirl holes in a plug. You know, I almost think that it can be detrimental depending on the type of effect that it is.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's fair to say. Like if Sinful came out with 50 different presentations to it, it could quite easily have got lost in the fodder.
Yeah. You are right. I do agree with that. I completely agree with that. Yes. Yeah. I think
I don't know what the question was. The question was basically sort of stemming from, you know, if something hasn't been worked for years and has all the presentations and the trimmings that go with it, it's not links on the support. And I kind of like, I do get that, obviously, and I advocate for that and I practice that as well. But I also think there are certain things where you could spend 20 years improving it and it was as good as it is on day one. I even think like with Sinful, I might be quoting Wayne Houghton here, but I'm sure he said he went to the store, he bought six pack of fizzy drinks, went home, and by that night, Sinful, that was it. That was Sinful.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I do agree. The one thing I will say is, it's a dangerous game going down that route as a creator. So, Acme hit.
I wouldn't say.
I'm willing to bet. I know that he got you into a position where you're releasing a lot of stuff very quickly. We've never talked about this, but I'm willing to bet the stuff that you look back on in that era and you go, I wish that hadn't come out.
Almost all of it.
Yeah. And it would have probably been better if you'd had more time to work on it.
Yeah, if it wasn't like, hey, this has got to come out, you know, constantly churn it out, then yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
But I don't, you know, put a roof over my head and pay bills, and kind of what my YouTube channel then was created was to sort of, for my own sanctity of mind, was to absolve myself and sort of some sins and give back to the community after I was like sort of stripped of artistic integrity. But yeah, I just think that nobody should go out with the intention of, I'm going to create something and release it tomorrow. And I know there are some people out there that do that, and you can always tell a mile away. But what I'm saying is, personally, if somebody showed me a trick and I was like, that trick is fucking good, man, and they were like, but I created it this morning, I wouldn't be that guy that came along and went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that. Well, no, I don't like it no more, you know? And to see some people have that mentality, it's just very like closed-minded, I think.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Yeah.
If something's good.
Yeah. And talking about things being good, should we talk about the Savant deck? See how I did that? That's boom. That's professional journalism, right?
Even Vanishing Ink said it's a good trick.
I know, right? What's the saying is that, yeah, Vanishing Ink, man. They I feel
magic connoisseurs.
I feel like I fit in with the Rich Boys Club now. I really do. I feel like
you're the cool crew, baby.
I feel like the next time I see Josh and Andy, they're going to be walking around fucking Blackpool wearing a plaid shirt and a black t-shirt, and it's like, yeah,
the sure.
But yeah, Vanishing Ink have really got behind it. So if Andy and Josh and the team are watching this, thank you very, very much, guys. It shot straight to number one of Vanishing Ink, which is always beautiful to see. And I know Pete and Harry have just had so many orders for it. Harry's like pulling his hair out because his dad's away at the moment in wherever he's over in Leo Smethus. So he's over in Holland, is it? Wherever. So you know, Harry and Andy are trying to, and Chris obviously are trying to deal with all of that on their own. But yeah, you know, we wanted to talk about the Savant deck. and kind of just go through something, because we did a live yesterday. We're filming this today, the day that you are seeing this and listening to this.
No, we're filming this tomorrow.
Yeah, we're filming this tomorrow, and then we're sending it back in time. But yesterday we did a live with Bo Kramer, and Bo's just amazing, isn't he? I mean, you know,
I fucking love Bo.
He's so good at his job. Like, he's so good. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Bo's job is to sell shit. Let's not make no bones about it. He's marketing. He's part of the.
I don't think it's sell stuff. It's not. It's because Murphy's doesn't sell to people. No, this job is to basically say this is the good stuff, this is the bad stuff. This is to bring awareness, because the shops, they have to do the selling. Well, a good time. Shake your stick.
He's just chilling and he's just relaxing. But I come away wanting to buy so much stuff. Like, after I've seen Bo Kramer, it's brilliant. He's just.
Well, Bo does a lot of consulting work for TV shows, so Bo's got a fantastic eye for what is the good stuff. And he knows what he can sniff out a bad trick a mile away. So it's really good to have a Bo on your team, because you kind of need to know that you could rely on someone else's opinion to echo or sometimes contradict what you've got in mind, and for good reason.
Yeah.
You know.
And he's so.
Plus, it was nice that he had clothes on as well, because not normally it's a naked phone call we tend to take with both. It was always like a nice, pleasant surprise to not see his peen on the screen.
So his feet. This is the closest I got anything. Or anything. His twin. His big Australian feet. But yeah, we did the live launch. I know not everyone will have seen that. So we wanted to briefly talk about the Savant deck. We don't want to turn the Magic podcast into a big Savant deck pitch. But, you know, it's worth maybe talking about it. Talking about some of the questions that we've seen come up in the last 24 hours, and maybe talk about the whole hype, not hype campaign and why we went down that route, because we have for the last few weeks. Unlike a normal Craig and Lloyd product, people thought we were taking the piss about this. We haven't hyped it. We've hardly mentioned it. We did one little video that was designed to say, hey.
Yeah.
But why did we do that? What do you want to talk about why that happened?
Yeah. We live in the strangest industry in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I compared or played it against like the movie industry. You can look at the music industry as well. For any other, because what we put out is consumer material. Sometimes it could be in digital download form. Sometimes it's a physical thing. You look at any industry that sort of delivers consumables, and by and large, people that are, that know what they're doing will tell you a long time in advance. A long time in advance. 28 days later was advertised a year before. The next was advertised 6 months before. I read something in a newspaper. There's a pop singer. Their album's coming out. Album's out in like 6 months or 3 months from now. This is pretty. I know there's some artists do surprise drops, and we've done that in the past. But by and large, most things that are coming out in most industries that are in some way equivalent to ours, you will hear about that new thing for months and months and months and months in advance. And I mean, like, not just by the way, on an off shoot of a podcast. Like, I know I mentioned decks a couple of times offhandedly in videos that I put up, but the marketing in terms of like, here's like a dedicated video made for it, here's like a picture or advert made for it, only kicks in 2 to 3 weeks before the product comes out. Right? We're a very, very different industry to most, and most industries will share reviews beforehand. They will share their own thoughts on, we believe this is this artist's best work they've ever done. This is a lifetime achievement in terms of what they put out, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes out and it'll get responses. Some people say, oh, this is amazing, I love it. Some people say, oh, this is not as good as their last album, or it's not as good as what they next do. You don't really ever see this discussion for overhype or miscategorizing something as hype. and then being like, "Oh, this was overhyped." It's very like unusual to see that when things have been advertised as the greatest thing ever, or I very sparingly ever say the word greatest thing ever when we say something that is brilliant or fantastic, because genuinely, if we're doing it to the point where we have been either asked to release it or feel it's worthy of release, we back ourselves and say, yeah, we think this is fucking good. I think that's okay to say. I think it's okay to back yourself if you've got something which is good and other people tell you is good. But with magicians, or a certain vocal minority of magicians, they say it's overhyped and they feel like it's abhorrent and that they don't realize that you can close a browser window. Like a lot of them forget there's an X in on the corner of the screen, or that they can swipe out of an app, and they feel like it's very important that they tell people like, "Oh, this is too much hype," and it's just I just find it's the most fascinatingly. I mean, we are strange by nature. We're magicians, right? I know that we need to stay weird, yeah, but it's also it's super super strange, and at times the minority of the strange can be super toxic as well. And you don't. I mean, you probably views you down deeper into other industries. But anyway, we were looking back at some of the stuff we put out. Like we looked at Lux, or I was looking up at Lux, and I was thinking, I looked at like the numbers, I looked at the things behind the scenes, and I thought, what I could say, definitely the proudest thing I've ever made, and one of the best selling things I've ever done, and it's one of the tricks that universally, it's the trick that like the big guys do, the real big names out there are doing of my material. One of the things they're doing. So like a very humbling, very proud thing. So I went back and I was looking at it, and almost universally, people are going. If you look at the old comments, all people talk about is this overhyped campaign was so full on that it made them fucking hate it before it was launched and after it was launched. And I was like, and to me, it was like, this is just a really bizarre world that we live in. It was advertised as doing something that hadn't been done before, which was true. It was advertised as being good. Well, I back myself. I think it's really fucking good. They came in with great reviews from people who had it secretly behind the scenes because they still fucking use it. For some reason, 2-week, 3-week build up of letting people know that was coming out was just way too fucking much. That was to me, it was bizarre. So I thought, let's poke fun at it. Let's do the opposite. Let's see if that changes the perception of it, of how something is received. I gotta say that I think I'm willing to eat my words in a sense, because Savant decks come out, overnight figures are, record breaking. It's the best performing thing that's come out in the last year for Murphy's.
Yep.
In overnight sales. And aside from an almost controversy, which was a mistake, there's been no complaints, no controversy. So
the only thing that I've seen that's any negativity at all isn't about the Savant deck. It's people going, well, we're not going to get the Savant deck because of the Atomic deck, which confused me as well, because it didn't really make any sense. Like, first of all,
yeah, but you have to remember that unfortunately, Craig, you have, thanks to your sins in your past, mine too. You will always, till the day you die, you will always have 5% of people that don't like you, and they will always share that your latest product, they're not going to be supporting it because of a new reason.
Yeah.
But you take away your, and everyone knows you have haters. Everyone knows I have haters. They're going to change their minds. But I don't want to speak too soon and jinx this. Controversy-free, drama-free. Some people are not going to like it, and we said that in the fucking video I made. I said, look, this might not be for all of you, because it was a collection of card tricks.
Yeah.
But very different. This 24-hour, the dust is settling very differently to past. Now, so it makes me, here's the thing. At least for me, I don't make any money off my releases. No, I work for Murphy. I'm a Murphy's employee. I don't make any money off my releases. But whether I market something or not doesn't change. Doesn't change my bottom line. Doesn't change the roof of my head in either way. But I come from a time in Magic where Theory 11, when they did that whole campaign to launch their company with the Easter egg hunts and the excitement that went on for 130 pages of the Magic Cafe before they even launched. When Illusionists used to be good and they used to do those campaigns with hidden Easter eggs on their website and you could find stuff. I even got in trouble for one because I found a trailer that shouldn't have been released early. I want to come with visions. I come from a time where back then, 20 years ago, I was that kid that was fucking excited about the new product. I didn't buy into the hype. I fucking enjoyed the hype. I think the word hype has always been misused. I enjoyed the excitement surrounding the build up to a new release. It's like when 28 years later it's come out. I fucking love zombie fiction. I love reading zombie books, listen to zombie audio. I love zombie movies. I'm just a loser like that. I'm fucking absorbed in that world. And the more people were talking about 28 years later and the more things that come out for it, and the film comes out, I know it hasn't lived up to everybody's expectations. You're not seeing people going ape shit over the overhyped. They're saying, you're seeing people complain that they didn't like the movie like they thought they were going to, or it wasn't like they thought it was going to be. The word overhyped doesn't exist in the normal person's world, in a normal thinking person's world. And for me, I've been absorbed in it, and I'm excited. I love the film. I thought it was really good. If I didn't, I'm really excited that the build-up to it got me thinking and bringing more of this zombie fiction around me.
Do you think that it exists in the Magic community, though? Because, people are, you've hyped a trick up and you said, this is an amazing trick. You believe that the trick's amazing. If you don't believe in yourself, how will anyone else believe in you? The problem is, there's no such thing as a perfect method. People will walk into a trick going, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be the trick that makes me famous. This is going to be the trick that makes me the next Dynamo. This is going to be the trick that makes me the next Darren Brown. This is the thing I've been waiting for. This is the moment. And then when they get it, it does what what they've been told it does, but there's a method. There's always a method. There has to be a
method. Will never, ever, ever, ever be better than the excitement of not knowing the method. So, and I get it, and I understand that, when you tell people, look, this trick is really fucking good, but it does have a method, it doesn't matter if you say that, it'll never supersede or very, very rarely exceed their expectation, because the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
I do get it. I personally really enjoy the excitement behind a good product coming out. And I'm not talking about our own things. I love it when I see other companies promoting something that's upcoming. I think it's fucking awesome.
Look at Dalton Wayne and what he does with his trailers.
Yeah. Look at the original Theory 11 campaigns and stuff that would be coming out in a month or 2 months time, or the old back in the day when Jason Brumbelow was at E and Peter McKenna and stuff. That to me, it's almost like, you say spectators don't remember your tricks, they remember you. Maybe I know I'm on a different side of the fence to the average person, but I don't know. I embody magic. My whole life is magic. Some people it's not. It's a dip their toe in and out hobby. Or some people, they just go and perform gigs to pay the bills, but they're not really everything about my body, my brain, my mind, my lifestyle is magic. Every single thing. So if any excuse to get excited about magic, it just makes my day brighter. I know some people it's just a job. I know it's just a job, and some people are always going to be the people that complain when they go to a restaurant because their steak wasn't cooked perfectly, but they fucking complain at every restaurant. I get that. But I just think it's a fascinating dichotomy between our industry and any normal industry. Anyway, so the question, which I've gone around the fucking roundabout on, or the talk, was the non-hype campaign.
Yep.
Or not even campaign. the whole thing was, we're going to do the opposite of hype. So even if it comes up in conversation, tell people it's okay.
Yep. And that's what we've both done.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've had people turn around to me, and I've seen comments on various different platforms where people have said, oh, this is a genius marketing campaign, the no hype marketing campaign. And it's even worse than when they hype stuff up. You can't win. Like, we're genuinely just not hyping it. You know, we're genuinely just letting it come out. Yeah, we're doing a video about it now. It's not really a campaign per se. I suppose it is in a way, if you call not really getting excited about something a campaign.
I mean, I understand there are like the people out there, like I don't know, I'm trying to think about it, like the little hipsters of the world, not the little hipsters, but there are certain people who are like, look, if it's good enough, I'll know about it. Yeah, I'll know if it's good enough. Somebody will tell me if it's good enough. I don't need them to tell me that a trick's being released. If it's good enough, it'll just fall on my lap. Okay, cool. Well, get off the internet. Fucking, you don't need to say that in a comment online on a forum that talks about new products.
Mhm.
Do you? Clearly, you only know about the good stuff. So get off this video, which is on a channel that it's dedicated to new products. If the good stuff will land in your lap. What do we suppose? Like, we work on material. We're creators by nature. 1% of all the things we come up with will become a product. The other 99% stuff is personal use.
Yep.
Almost my entire repertoire is just stuff that it could never be released.
And
Because
people never see it.
But the 1% of it is stuff that when I show other people, they go, I want that. I want to do that myself. And I show more people and they say, more, I want that as well. I go, well, okay, maybe this is more of a commercial thing. So this will be all right to release. I'm like, okay to put this out versus the things that are for me. And then you spend years, literally years, working on that thing, whether it's inclusive of improving the method, quality, presentation, the kinks, and then you invest money or company's money into it, $50,000 into this thing, and you're like, oh my god, you know what started off of something that I was just doing as a pet routine that people asked me to put out has now become this entire living, breathing, exciting project, and I've got one dickhead on a forum saying, I don't tell me how good this is before it comes out, and if you do, I'm going to accuse you of overhyping it. You know, I just don't think, and I'm happy to be wrong as well. I also know that like there's got to be, look at Lux, right? And look at the comments and that they're not talking about the product; they're talking about the overhype campaign. Either I'm wrong, or either I'm right, and all those people are wrong. And to be honest with you, if that many people are saying it, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean that. If everyone was saying it was just too overmarketed, then it was. Clearly.
Yep. Yep.
Or is it one of those things where the most, sometimes most awful and dangerous thing in the world is an idea? It's one tree to make 1,000 matches, but it only takes one match to burn 1,000 trees. As in, a handful of people say this is too overhyped, and then suddenly it becomes the echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Who knows? But then you look at the flip side, and maybe so many people around the world wouldn't be doing Lux if it wasn't advertised as much.
Well, I don't think it would have done the numbers it did if you hadn't hyped it.
You know, I don't want to use the word hype. It was advertised. It was marketed.
Yeah. See,
advertised and marketed for a limited period of time comparatively to other industries. If I advertised it full on like they do for like the Formula One movie for a year in advance, would now 30,000 people have it?
See,
I'm using it every day.
I built a business off marketing. Marketing for me is the most important thing. You'll see me reading a marketing book more than you'll see me reading a magic book. I love marketing. I really do. And it just goes against every fiber of my being, not marketing something. You know, the irony is a lot of the people that I've seen talk in the past about, oh, it's too hyped. They're professional magicians who are putting out videos designed to hype the people that go to their website into booking them for their event over anyone else. Every business, the lifeblood is marketing. Without marketing, there's no awareness. Without awareness, there's no inquiries or leads. Without leads, there's no sales. Without sales, there's no turnover. Without turnover, there's no profit. Without profit, you don't have a business. You have a paid hobby that's not even paid. So you want to actually run a business successfully, you have to invest in marketing. It's why marketing agencies are so important. And to say that, something shouldn't be marketed, or that you can't say it's like, great, it just is insane to me. Like, if I believe something is bloody good, and I believe it because I've spent years working on it, and I've developed it, and I've gone back and forth, and I've had highs, and I've had lows, and I've had ups, and I've had downs, and I've had moments where I'm like, this is never going to work, and then I've had eureka moments when I'm like, oh, actually, this is brilliant. If I've gone through that process with you, and I believe that we've come out the other end with something that is absolutely fucking incredible, then I should be able to say that this is bloody amazing. And if you disagree, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But don't tell me I can't fucking tell people ahead of time that this is amazing, because I genuinely believe it is. And I've worked my tits off to get it to this position.
Yeah, it's a strange one. And like, I know like some people will say, oh, well, I don't want you to tell me it's good. I'll wait for other people to tell me it's good. That's fine. Like, you don't, there's a really old Ricky Gervais analogy which comes out about the guitar lessons being advertised on a pinboard in a town center. And it's like, here's the number for guitar lessons. And someone calling you up and saying, I don't want fucking guitar lessons. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, not every creator, like there's some creators out there, like look at Tobias Lostel. You don't hear him going off doing loads of podcasts and self-promotion. It's fine.
Yeah, but his sexy little German ass will sell anything.
Yeah, see, he's one of the coolest people on planet Earth. But if I've got something, the 1,000 tricks that I've created that year, or ideas that I've written down in a notebook, out of 1,000 little seeds, one of them turns into a tree. If I'm not confident in backing it publicly, well, then that was one of the other 99,000 seeds.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a fucking strange world we live in, and but then I used to go out drinking with a friend of mine, and every weekend he'd get into a fight. Every single fucking weekend, he'd be scrapping. Every Sunday morning it would be the same story. Oh yeah, but this got so and so was a knob it. So and so was a knob it. At that point, I hadn't had a scrap for fucking years going out. The formal person trying to be nice and good. And I said to him one day, I'm not going to name his name, but I said, man, look, I'm not being a dick, but I don't want to go out being with you anymore because it always ends up the same way. And I'm not about my life these days. And before I could finish, he's like, yeah, but dude, the last time we went out, I said, look, man, either everyone else is the arsehole or maybe it's you. And I'm thick-skinned enough to say that, like, I look at the Lux campaign, yeah, did huge numbers, but that many people are saying it. Maybe I am the arsehole. That's okay because, well, we did something new. We tried something a bit different. We said, look, it's coming out on the 24th of June. There's a live stream to announce it. Set of half-decent card tricks. We under-promised. It's gone out. And no controversy so far.
No, so far. Very exciting. Should we talk?
Not exciting at all. Do you know what? It's annoying. I love, like reps. The dust has settled, yeah. It's set a record, best-selling thing in the 24 hours of the year, okay? So it's not like we're sitting here going, we should have done it. But I'm gutted we didn't let more people know. Not because, again, I don't make any money off it. It makes no difference to me if it sells 20,000 overnight or 10,000 overnight. Makes no fucking difference. But this has been comparatively boring to be a part of in the build-up to it.
Yeah. And we do this a lot of the
No, they
time
tend to
with
show a
the
magician a new trick and fooling them with it, and then everyone wanting question. I just think it's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's boring when you're not like hyping it up. That's what makes it exciting and fun. But well, look, this is our redemption arc. This is our chance to hype it briefly now because we have had a lot of questions. We have had a lot of people ask questions. So let's quickly talk about the Savant deck. Try to cover some of the questions that have come up. So for people that are on the fence, we can give them some facts.
One recurring question is, can it be overhand shuffled?
Yeah.
Do you want to take it or shall I?
Why don't you start and I'll jump in?
So the short answer is no. It can't be overshuffled by the participant. However, there's so much covered with shuffling on there. There's so many other options for shuffling on there, and a lot of the routines that the shuffling that wouldn't make the routine any more stronger or fooling or not, because a lot of the routines are not to do with the order of the deck. A lot of them are to do with like UV reveals or transpositions, and it'd be like saying, you know, that coin vanish you're releasing. Well, can you do a coin roll with that coin? It's, you know, kind of irrelevant to it. But I do understand that some people are concerned. However, we cover a lot of different realistic options, and it's like I wanted to kind of like address it before it's one of those things that becomes a recurring theme and people are hanging on to it, a question, without actually thinking about the reality of the situation. And so, can the deck be overhand shuffled by your participants? No, but there are many other solutions. Also, it doesn't really matter. The way I do it is I say, I want this deck, I show it being shuffled, right? Like oftentimes, you showing the deck is fucking shuffled. If you need an audience member to riffle shuffle them and they can't riffle shuffle them, then you're doing your job incorrectly by trying to force that overproving to the point where they'll then start to draw attention to the shuffling.
Yeah.
So if I say, I want the deck really well shuffled, can someone do, like, you can do other shuffles, but I want a good shuffle of this. Can someone do, if they can, great. And if they can't, they go, oh no, not that good, or I can't do it, I'm too afraid. I just say, okay, but you could see that if you want me to do it and you can see they shuffled, and they go, yeah, they fucking shuffled. Danny Dorter says the best false shuffle in the world, this is Danny Dorter's words, is to take the deck and just throw it on the table. There's no better false shuffle in the world than that because you are showing you don't give a fuck about the deck. The same goes for this. You can have the audience shuffle it, riffle shuffle it. I qualify and say, I need the deck shuffled. I want to make sure that they really shuffle like this. Can you do this? And they'll go, yeah. I give it to them. And if they say no, I say, no worries. And you can see they're shuffled, yeah? And they go, yeah. Because you're actually fucking shuffling them. If you need to overprove it more than that, and you're going, if your audience goes, no, but if I can overhand shuffle them, then I will believe that, you do something wrong, man.
I agree. And I totally agree with that. To add to that, a lot of the time when I'm working, I have a very quick fire delivery style, as you guys probably know if you're watching this. I tend not to hand the deck out to be shuffled anyway, because
I shouted at you for this.
Huh?
I shouted at you for this.
Why?
In filming. You were doing the Rain Man routine, and I said, look, you're doing... Sorry, I'm talking so much in this podcast.
Okay.
We were filming the Rain Man routine, and I was like, look, magicians are going to love the fact that it can be shuffled by the audience. Like, it's kind of like the thing that's nice for us magicians to be like, oh, wow, well, they shuffled it too. And then you do the Rain Man routine. I was like, when you do it, go and perform and just make sure the audience shuffles. And you went out there, and because you just fucking love playing with playing cards, you were doing it, and you weren't handling it to the audience. Yeah. Obviously, the effect was getting wild reactions because they can see the deck is actually fucking shuffled. But I said, Craig, in the next routine, put your hands in your fucking pockets, you cunt. I just want to show magicians, like with the quantum deck, when you literally had to force them to examine it because they didn't give a shit. And like, magicians are going to say straight away, oh, you're not letting them shuffle. It's like, put your hands in the pocket, stop being a big sausage finger dickhead, and make them shuffle it, just because the first question is going to be, can they shuffle it?
Yep.
Remember that conversation at the bar?
From a person who goes and gigs a lot, like, I rarely get people to shuffle the cards. Like, I don't do an ambitious card and say, shuffle the cards. Now let's pick a card. I rarely get them to shuffle the card because it slows the pace down. They see that I'm shuffling the cards. They don't need to. And also, a lot of spectators don't like to be handed cards. It puts them under a lot of pressure. They might not be very good at it and it freaks them out. And I'm very aware of that. So, when you see a routine like this and you kind of go, I've found a negative. Can they shuffle in and over? It's kind of like, it makes no difference because most of the time I don't let them shuffle anyway. However, if you do, and I'm just going to quickly mention one thing. This is by Juan Tamariz. If you are absolutely wanting your spectator to feel like they've given the deck a waterfall shuffle and they can't, and we talk about this in more detail on the project, all you
Full shuffle up and let them push the cards together.
do that. You just literally do this. And then you spread the cards out on the table. I don't have a close-up handle. You don't need one. You spread the cards out on the table and you say, can you push them together like this? And they push them together themselves like this. And that's absolutely fine. So if you want them to feel like they're shuffling and...
The thing is that actually, the beauty of this is that isn't a false ripple shuffle. There's something secret going on, but they are actually ripple shuffle there. So you're not doing anything deceptive. You are riffle shuffling it for the audience if they are able to.
Yeah. And the other thing that you can do is you can just get them to cut packets all over the place and then pick them up in any... There's so many different options that we go through on the trailer, and you can do that, and that will do the thing.
And there's 2 points I want to make, right? The first one is going back to the qualifying. So you could overhand shuffle them yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like this. So you say, I want somebody here, and who here can give the cards a good shuffle? Not a one like this, which sort of just does it in clumps. I want to really, so they see ripple, they see the overhand shuffle. I want somebody to give them a good shuffle. Or if nobody's any good shuffling, you all happy that this deck is well and truly mixed. That's it. That's it. If you can't do that, you're in the wrong game. Secondly, it's magicians overthinking their lizard brains kicking in. If they go in, I would love this, but if they can't specifically overhand shuffle, I'm sending it fuck off, right? Because who here? I think someone even said, this type of thing I would do alongside Out of This World. Who here hands your deck out when you do Out of This World to the audience to shuffle?
Nobody.
There are some versions of it. There are some versions like Harry Lorraine's, but by and large, 99% of magicians who actually perform in the real world do the Out of This World handling where the audience does not shuffle the deck. So why would anyone? And that's where I say often it's those 5% of your people that you've riled up and pissed off over the years that come in, they find that new excuse to put a seed out there and go, I'm not buying this from you, Craig, because they can't overhand shuffle.
Yeah.
It's like, you watch it and you think the trick, one of the tricks, like if you like that Rain Man trick, right? The deck is shuffled either by you or by the audience. Doesn't fucking matter. They cut cards and you could instantly cut. If you like that trick and you want to do that exact trick, then get it. If you don't like card tricks, don't get it. If you don't like that trick and you like some of the other tricks on the project, get it. If you don't like it, don't get it.
Yeah.
But don't cut your nose off to spite your face because you're getting hung up on a detail which is so inconsequential that it's like saying I'm not buying that hot dog because it doesn't come with pepper to put on it. It's like, well, dude, you don't put pepper on a hot dog. It's like, yeah, but I do like pepper on other food. It's kind of like, what the fuck? Okay, like,
yeah.
I want the deck mixed. And some of you give them a shuffle like this, so they're really well mixed. No one. Okay, you happy they're mixed? And you want to just cut and complete them as well? Yeah, okay, good. Anything more than that is overproven anyway.
Yep.
And that's only if you're doing one of the small amount of routines, which is about shuffling the deck.
Yeah.
Which is not even about shuffling the deck, where shuffling the deck is just a bit of extra overproving to what you're doing.
Yep. I agree. Yep, completely. Quick fire questions that people have had. Is there ruffling fluid? No, not at all. Are they specially printed? No, not at all. I mean, they are printed, but they're not specially printed. There's no
Like single right about playing cards, and you'll be happy to know there are no markings on them, so you will get
That's
caught
what
diverging bits.
Yeah, that was the next question. Are there any marks? There's no marks whatsoever.
You can just get a red big pen and mark them yourself in 2 minutes if you want to. But we were consciously aware that a lot of people would find it really to complain if they were marked. You know, you'd split the crowd. So if you want to mark them like a normal white deck. But no, they're fine.
Yeah. Are the tricks reset? Yes.
Pretty much.
There's one.
17
are instantly reset. There's one that can be instantly reset unless you do a slightly different handling, in which case you'd have to spend about 20 seconds resetting the deck.
Well, you just reset it as you're doing the trick. There's two. Yeah, it's like one trick, one handling of one trick isn't reset, but then you just reset.
Can you do the trick one after another? Yes. That's one of the things that I love about this deck. I'd like to talk about this for a second, because as somebody who has done deep dives into Mirage decks, cheat decks, Svengali decks, all those sort of things, the big problem with a lot of those decks is you can only do one trick. There might be a bunch of tricks that you can do, but like the Invisible deck, for example, the end result is always going to be a card turned over in the deck. So you can't do more than one at a time. You pick the one you want to do. With this, and I think you were really surprised, because how me and Lloyd approached the tutorial, we approached it in a very different way to how we normally do a tutorial, insofar as we didn't really talk about it ahead of time. We created the deck, and then we kind of spent a long period of time working on our own routines. And we talked about it over a period of time. And I was like, I can't wait till you see this one. You were like, I can't wait to see this one. And some of the stuff we're aware of. But when I came to the shoot, a lot of the stuff that I was bringing to the table, and we have to give a shout out to Thomas Maloney, because Thomas Maloney was on the shoot and came up with some fucking incredible material. You hadn't seen any of that. And I think one thing that surprised you was the eclectic direction that we'd taken the actual Savant deck in, and how it had gone completely in a bonkers direction. And that's what I love about the Savant deck, in that you're going to see on the live performances me doing like a 20-minute set. I'm walking up to a group of people, I'm doing 5 or 6 routines with the same deck, and they're all completely different. There's like gambling routines, there's ACANs, there's UV predictions, there's magic squares, and it's all done with the same deck, one after another after another. And the thing I love about it is, because the tricks are all instantly reset, and because there's such an eclectic range of material, you can do huge set and just go from one routine into another.
Yeah, all the tricks, or at least like not every single trick, because there's like 3 ACANs taught, but large amounts of the tricks are very, 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 very different. There's a trick with UV reveals on the back. Then it goes into a trick which is a page transposition from a book test. And there's a trick where you have the same amount of change predicted. And also, that's the thing, they're not just like different in terms of like, oh, this is one number trick here, this is another number trick here, this is another math space trick. That you can go from revealing a thought of card that was chosen under the table to revealing a predicted card with UV ink. Then you can do a page test transposition. Then you can do the Rain Man effect, where you instantly calculate all the cards. Then you can predict what cards are chosen with pocket change. It's like, these are all there, and then you end with at least one like where they do an ACAN and the deck ends at blank. You have to have a blank deck to go with it. But all of those tricks are completely different. Like completely different from one another. From mind reading to predictions to UV reveals to deck, the cards all disappear. Transpositions, book tests. They're all using this. Obviously, you have to like provide a book to do the book test. Like we don't, you get this, but they're all using the Savant deck as the engine in that car. It's super versatile. You could just literally take that, and then any of the other routines, if you want to do the book test and grab your book, you're going to take. But that Savant deck can just give you literally in the project, you do a 21-minute set. And there's only 4 of the tricks you did in that 21-minute set. Yep. Just using Savant deck. You could literally do your entire gig with the Savant deck.
Easily. I have done.
And good gig as well. Not just forcing out shit tricks.
Yeah.
For the sake of it. Good tricks.
Really good tricks. Yeah. Like one of my favorite tricks on there, and I know it's not your favorite trick on the project, is the shuffling
But yeah, the gambling demonstration, shuffle tracking, gambling demonstration.
yeah.
Well, it got, like we said already, it got the biggest reaction of the entire trailer.
Yep.
And it was the one trick I would have kept from the project. So shows what I know.
It's amazing. I love it. It really makes me feel like Jason the Dane. You know, it really does.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I can actually do this crazy shit for real, and I can't. It's just so easy.
Yeah, it's amazing. One thing I want to talk about is how amazing Owen Packard is.
Oh, and let's talk about Owen for a second. Yeah, let's talk. So, and in fact, we should talk about that. Actually, we should talk about that. So, and let's be completely honest about what happened in terms of me and Lloyd are meticulous when it comes to crediting. Me especially, because I don't want to have another red happen again. You know, I had that 20 years ago. I ain't going down that fucking route again. And so we're meticulous, and we had all of our ducks in the row. We were told, you know, we always research, we always have the crediting, and we knew that had been done before. Well, not it hadn't been done before, but
basically we went down. We found 20-year-old effect, and we were like, oh, great, and basically we went down the sort of, we found what we thought was the crediting, but it wasn't.
And it was reached out to the person. We even reached out to the person who originated it.
But it turns out then there was an even older effect than that. So we basically thought we'd found the right crediting, got the right permissions, but then it turns out it's like we always say, no matter how deep you look, it will always be something that was something by someone that was created before. I think it was like Garcia when he released Fallen, was like he put Fallen out, did all his crediting, and then like a year after it was released, someone came up to him and was like, oh, by the way, that was published in a Japanese book 200 years ago. But what we're saying is, even when we went out, we got our crediting, we got our permissions, everything sorted, then we found out, oh, actually, shit, there's another thing like this, and this is even closer. But there was no debacle over it. It was Owen Packard's. I think he had developed the exact same principle, different set of tricks. But the same
and when we say different, completely different approach to using it, like chalk and cheese. You wouldn't see the original trick and the Savant deck next to each other and think they were even the same deck. The
elements of it, obviously, because they share the same principle, but by and large, if you watch the two projects together, you can see how different they are. Anyway, so before the release, but on a couple of weeks ago, not that long ago, even more months ago, but not very long. But before it was released, Craig called home, was like, shit, we have been working on this project, thought we had our ducks in a row. We just discovered that you've done this 20 years ago, man. Fuck. Ball's in your court. Is there anything we could do to save the project, please? So yeah, do you want to tell everyone what sort of transpired from there?
Yeah, I basically turned around to Owen and I said, look, you know, the tricks are different, the approach is different, but the makeup of the deck is very similar, almost identical, other than a couple of little things. What do you want to do? I will do whatever you want me to do, and if you want me to do something in particular, whatever you need, you've got it. And we went back and forth for a few hours, didn't we? And then Owen, being the fucking amazing person he is, he came back and he went, just carry on with the shoot. Just carry on with the shoot. We'll work something out. After that, I spoke to Owen again. I'm going to be doing something with Big Blind Media, which is great. I'm very excited about that because it's one production company I've always wanted to work with that I never have.
They are in terms of production, especially. They have because he does broadcast quality production.
Yeah, it's like incredible. I'm very excited. I am very excited. But then shortly before release as well, I put Owen in touch with George. George, if you don't know, is effectively Lloyd's boss. He's in charge of the studio creative department, and he oversees all the projects that Murphy's produced.
He keeps me in check for being a complete and utter cunt.
Can we just say for a second, George has the fucking hardest job in the world. He has to make that knobhead do his job.
It's got a leash on me and Craig all the time. This has stopped us from licking our own assholes. No, you got to kiss the kids afterwards, and you'll have shit all over your mouths, guys. So
he must sit in his living room just drawing on the walls with crayons in the evening, just like how the fuck.
Last night he even had to do it to me. We were meshing in the group chat, and Connor's one of the guys who works at Murphy's, and I was just being typical, like, brash, owl mouth, like saying the most outlandish, disgusting shit in there. And George's like, Lloyd, just so you know, Connor's not British. and, so, and then Connor messaged like, no, don't worry, I have a British mother-in-law, so I get it. But he messaged privately, and then he tells Connor, like, I told Lloyd that you're not.
So he must be like, I got this job.
Yeah, but back on.
So anyway, so I put him in touch with George and Owen.
Figured out on.
I don't know what the deal is.
Suck.
I've got my own arrangement with Owen, which is I'm going to do something with Big Blind Media. Owen had I sat down with George and then messaged me back saying, thanks for putting me in touch with George. I'm super happy. You're a great guy. Boom. So, and I can guess what the deal is because Big Blind Media is selling Savant decks, so I can guess what it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to misquote anyone, but from what I can gather between the lines, is that Owen wanted to have some sort of support the effect, and also it's supporting his original idea.
Yeah,
as well. It's to showcase his original idea and how we've taken it in a different direction. So we sent him units. He's got them. He's got it on his site. And from his interaction with you, he seems super happy. And yeah, kind of like stayed today. And just so everyone knows that if Owen had said to you on the phone, like, look, Craig, this is my pride and joy, and I just cannot give you my blessing to release it, then it wouldn't have been released.
We were ready to burn the whole project to the ground. We were ready at that.
You said to him, look, we really don't want to, and I'll do anything I can to keep this project alive. But the decision was Owen's, and we really, truly would have respected that decision. If he said, nah, this can't go on, we would have been gutted. But we would have understood because, we also are creators, and sometimes you're not able to let someone work. I've had to, in the past, I've had, very rarely, but if I wanted to, I've had to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you can't put that out when I've been notified ahead of time. But by and large, 98% of the time, it's been like, yeah, dude, of course, I get it. This is not a zero-sum game, and yeah, so if it wasn't for Owen Packard, literally, in every sense of the word, this wouldn't exist. And a huge thank you to him. I mean, such a dude.
Yeah. 100%. Owen is the real genius in this situation. He really is. And further proof that, further proof that he's just such a nice fucking guy. And if anybody's listening to this and you haven't picked up you haven't picked up a Savant deck yet, and you're anywhere near where Big Blind Media shipped to, do me a favor, go on Big Blind Media and pick it up from Owen. Just go and pick it up from Owen. If you haven't got one yet, and you listen to this and you go, you know what? This is me. Go and get it from Owen. Go and get it from Big Blind Media.
Yeah. Again, I think it's just like a good story or lesson to be learned, like in terms of how things are handled as well. Like, because we did literally, it was your idea for the principle entirely for the Savant deck work.
Yeah.
You called me up. And you're like, this is this idea I've got. Da, 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 da. I think anyway.
Remember, it was a principle I used in another project, and I showed you the other project. Nothing to do with Murphy's. I had a something that I was working on, and it was part of the principle there. And then that's when we do what we always do, which is we were like, and
yeah. So it kind of came from that. Then we developed tricks and ideas and all these things. Then we showed it to someone who told us, oh, actually, this has already been done. I hear da 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 da. And we were like, okay, cool. And we got the permission. So it was like, oh, by chance we found out. We did research and crediting, but it was hard to it was hard to make it searchable because the method isn't spoken about openly online.
No.
But anyway, we thought we had our ducks in the row, and it just turns out, no matter how far down a rabbit hole you go, there will always be a deeper rabbit hole. It turned out the show. Very first thing you did was call Owen.
Yep, immediately.
First thing you did.
And that's, by the way, somebody asked me this question on a Q&A recently. And I said they were like, oh, somebody's ripping off my trick. I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to expose them like you did with Michael Weber. And I said to them, don't do that. Because the Michael Weber thing was a very different scenario. Like, I a lot of stuff like this is sorted out behind the scenes and nobody is ever aware of it. The amount of times somebody's come to me and they've said, hey, I've got this trick. It's similar to yours. Can you release can I release it? I'm like, yeah, go for it. No problem. Or whatever the case may be. And I've had to go to people about certain stuff as well. The difference with the Michael Weber situation, I don't want to bring that up to the thing again, is I'd got to the point where we'd been going back and forth behind the scenes with Murphy's involved for weeks. And it got to the point where he was then sending me an email threatening me via Murphy's saying, well, we wouldn't Craig needs to do the right thing. We don't want to see another Red situation on our hands. And we couldn't find common ground. And then he's threatening to destroy my career, which he did the first time round. And I'm like, that ain't happening, motherfucker. If I'm going down fighting. But that's was a totally different scenario for anybody created a magic. If you get to a point where you have to make it public, then great, make it public. But that should be the nuclear fucking option. That should be the I've exhausted all lines of negotiation. And the other thing is, I've had situations in the past where I've gone back and forth and I've pulled a product because I could see it from their point of view. With Michael, I couldn't see it from his point of view at all. I just couldn't see it. How are you asking me to not release something that you put in a magazine in a magazine that members had to sign to say that they couldn't talk about it anywhere or perform it anywhere for other magicians? How am I supposed to know about that? And by the way, this is a 12-hour project with 6 other magicians involved, and you're talking about 2 A-sided piece of paper. You dumb motherfucker. That's the... I'm sure he's not a dumb motherfucker. He is. I hate Michael Weber. The point I'm trying to say is don't do what I do. I'm an idiot, is what I'm trying to say. I'm a fucking idiot. What I'm trying to say is I'm a fucking idiot. Don't do that. That should be the nuclear last option.
Oh, no, I mean, you did it for the right reasons and was vindicated. Hence, the change in the community.
And I feel like Michael's grown from this as well. I've heard recently he's a brand new guy, so that's good.
No part in this conversation. Or no part in it. See, you know when I say there are 5% of people?
Yeah.
That will...
You know when you
always hate your new thing?
It's because of this, isn't it?
It's because of that one time. One time. You fucking Scooby dude. Michael Weber. Was fucking... Could have gone away with it if it wasn't that pesky Velma-looking motherfucker called Craig.
So yeah, the Savant deck ultimately lots of different tricks, lots of fun stuff that you can actually do. But like Lloyd said, and it's not a lie, it is a series of card tricks. They're really great card tricks. I love the card tricks. If you like card tricks, you're gonna love it. If you like mentalism, if you like doing magic square close up, if you like doing that sort of stuff, there's stuff for you. But it's not going to be for everybody. But it's...
I just hope somebody's not this far into this podcast going, I don't like it. Oh,
There is.
You can turn this off. There's a button on your computer. It's got a little cross in the corner. If you press that, you don't have to listen to us. If you've watched the trailer and you're going, I know, what are we going to do? Normally, you can minimize the trailer or click another video, and then you won't have to listen to it. It's a really easy fix. If you're on your phone, you could swipe up and then close the application or swipe a video down and choose a different video. I'm being as sincere and as I try not to patronize you, but if you do not have to listen to us talking about our new thing if you don't want to. Okay?
Yeah. But I will tell you though, one thing that I've noticed is you have haters, I have haters, and so they cross over. They tend not to like both of us.
They cross swords.
They do. But the thing that I've noticed is a lot of the time when I see people talking about me online, whether it be on forums or wherever it may be, a lot of the time they referenced videos that I've done in the last week or two. It's like, Craig spoke about this, and then he spoke about this, and then on his Q&A at this point he spoke about this. And I'm like, if I fucking don't like something to the point that I have to say that thing that I don't like constantly online is an asshole, if I hate something that much, I don't fucking ever listen to it. I don't listen to it. I don't fucking listen to it. What I definitely don't do is sit at home listening to every video I put out, and that's a lot of fucking videos, listen to every single fucking video I put out, getting more and more angry, going, "Oh, Craig Petty, right, a fucking asshole, fucking fuck you, Craig Petty," and then type about it, and then the next day he's put another video up, "Fuck you, Craig Petty, you fucking cunt." And
No, when you put it that way, it's fucking lunatic behavior. It's fucking lunatic behavior. You know, there's it's not many people in the world. I think there's an R&B singer called Chris Brown, who, aside from making shit music, is also a fucking terrible human being. Beat women and stuff. You know, I do not. I've never gone and commented on an Instagram page. I've never gone and tweeted at him. If I see his name somewhere, I just scroll past it. Because if I was to go and just publicly try and shit on him and shame him, that's borderline fucking behavior. Do you know what I mean? That is what the fuck am I doing as a grown adult man trolling a human being? Like, I'm 36 years old. I don't live in my mum's house. Therefore, I don't go and, you know, it's weird. Like, all the people that constantly follow you around online, you know,
crazy.
the shower.
Yeah, it's nuts. They all know every single thing that I've said on every single video. They've probably got fucking notebooks of it. I can't even remember what I said yesterday. I can't even remember what I said.
I want to read their little WhatsApp groups that they're in.
Oh, there'll be some amazing WhatsApp groups. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that one. Oh my fucking God, that'd be amazing.
Mind you, you're too thin-skinned to take it, Craig. You'd film like a fucking 24-hour live rant about.
I try to ignore people, but like
You fucking suck at it.
I do. I suck at it. I'm like, I see something and I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. Who the fuck do you think? Fuck off. Fuck off.
What I do, man, ignore the haters and the lovers. Like, just knock your phone off and live your life. Live your life.
I still am your answering service. The amount of people that think that I'm the gateway to the Barnes. Like, can you get a message to Lloyd? Because
yeah, but normally that message comes through with, Lloyd, by the way, so-and-so wants you for this. I also, you fuck you. So it does come with a price.
Yeah.
My PA comes with a cost.
Yes, that's very true. Well, you don't pay me, so I have to insult you. That's how it works. Yeah. I think we've covered everything. We've insulted some people in the Magic community. That's off the bingo card. Oh yeah, Peter Nardi has wonderful bollocks and his nuts are just amazing. There you go. That covers that one.
Wonderful swollen testicle.
Nice, big, hairy.
Love spuds.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I forgot the name of them. And you know, they made Harry. I mean, look at that beautiful, gorgeous man.
I can't believe Pete Nardi's gone on a dogging holiday and left his pet sperm running the shop. I'm not honks.
It's to be fucking screen captured and just play forever.
I'm so sorry, guys.
I need to make a t-shirt. I can't believe Pete Nardi has gone on a dogging holiday and left his pet sperm to run the shop.
I'm so sorry, Pete. I'm sorry.
That's brilliant. Yeah, well, that's covered that one. I don't think we've got anything else to say. I'd just like to point out once again that the
views and opinions expressed only Craig's, and he told me to say it before the show started.
Yeah, let's go with that, shall we? Right. We're going to wrap this up, but before we do, one last question that's come up. What are Craig and Lloyd working on in the future? Let's hype this motherfucker to the ground, Lloyd. We've done the no hype thing. Let's
the greatest gaff deck of all time. The holy grail of gaff decks is so good it's gonna fuck your wife.
This gaff deck. Yeah, no, that was pretty good. This gaff deck is so fucking good that you've got people like Daniel Garcia, you've got people like Kayla Morelli, you've got people like fucking everyone who was involved in the, you know, some of the old school gaff decks. They're just all fucking doing a group wank over what this deck looks like right now. This is...
Baby, it's an okay gaff deck. It's an okay gap deck. They give each other gob jobs over it, but not wanks.
Yeah.
You know.
Welcome to the Magic Podcast. If you want a slightly less vulgar podcast, please check out Lloyd's 1089 thing.
Oh no, you know what? Forget it.
108.9 Gateway Radio.
Don't fuck off. No, you know, I mean, the last time we put up a podcast, someone commented saying, "I'll look at them with something to fucking shill." And you know what? Like, we're back 6 months later, and we're going to get that comment again. And I just want to say, you're absolutely fucking right.
Absolutely. Well, the next time you're going to see Craig and Lloyd is at the release of the Gaff Deck. Come and join us for that, motherfuckers.
You don't even want to come for that, to be honest with you. I'm quickly being real. This has already been my annual fill of podcasting.
You're done. You're done. That's it.
My anxiety is already through the roof thinking, okay, I know we've offended some people throughout this. I'm not sure who,
Well,
but they're going to let us know.
I could give you a list of about 20 or 30 of them. I've kept track in my head. You wanna slag anyone else off before we finish? We haven't brought up Peter Eggen yet.
No, let's just leave it there, please.
Okay, good. All right. So, thanks very much for joining us on the podcast. We'll be back again at the release of the Gaff Deck. Maybe Lloyd will find some time over the summer. Will you find some time over the summer? Probably not. You won't find some time.
Wait a bit.
Ooh.
Not a sausage in a second.
Not a chance. But you can follow Lloyd on his YouTube channel. You can follow me on my YouTube channel. We will come together again at some point in the future, like a big, sexy, fucking massive English Wales crossover orgasm. But until then, you'll
leave those glasses looking like a painter's radio.
Lloyd, you gotta sign it off like you normally do.
And the shit week, you fucking clowns.
And he genuinely means it. I'm Craig. This is Lloyd, and this has been the Magic Podcast. Now go buy a Savant deck, motherfuckers.
We apologize for disrupting your normal daily schedule. You may now relax, tuck your deck back in, and resume your regular day-to-day life. Remember to subscribe to be notified the moment each new episode goes live every Wednesday. And join our Facebook group to continue the conversation. The link is in the description to this podcast. Thank you for listening to The Magic Podcast.